Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Mike and Mike's E-Keys for Cars. GT Car in Supple's Building and Remodeling. Our friends at 1-800-800-ROSE and Hawkeye Courier. The Midtown Family Restaurants. Harty and Stacker Jewelers in downtown Iowa City. Premier Automotive. Hit a deer. Call Premier. The Oxyoke Inn in the Amanas. Streets Maintenance. And Dr. Lance Forbes Dental Extravaganza to the Stars at Diamond Dental in Cedar Rapids. Ladies and gentlemen, back from his wonderful trip, it's Tom Suter.
Dental Extravaganza to the Stars.
Yes, it's a show.
A mouthful.
It's a show when you go up there. It's quite a performance.
Dog and pony show.
Well, not quite, but
song and dance. Soft
little song and dance. Yeah, you bet. Cool. So how was your trip?
It was actually real nice. The weather was perfect the whole time.
Really?
Yeah.
So you missed no snow, huh?
No, the weather was perfect. Didn't get to see the whole Iowa-Colorado game.
Yeah, because there was a wedding that you were at, right?
That's right. So we were able to watch the first quarter and a little bit more, and then followed along on the score while we were sitting down before the wedding. But then once the wedding started, we had to cut ties.
Focus your attention.
Yes. Yeah.
But then you got to see Monday's game. Now.
We did.
Yeah.
And that was great.
So what, are you just going to watch at home tonight?
Yes.
A lot of people are planning on doing that, but I know that there'll be a big crowd at Carver tonight, I'll bet you.
I imagine.
It's great for people that, got like shut out from the season because it was sold out every game. And
I think I've done my time at Carver this season.
You certainly have. Pat Harty is with us. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning.
So you going in tonight, Pat? Going in with your buddies to Carver?
I am not.
No?
You're not going?
No.
I'm stunned by that.
The game's not there.
Apathy.
Yeah, that's what it is. Pure, unadulterated apathy.
If the game was there, I would be there. But yeah, that doesn't really.
No, because I gotta work. I mean, Susan's there, but I gotta get all her stuff. I'll be writing something, and the game's not going to get over till 11:30 probably.
Yeah, even if it starts on time.
Well, It's supposed to start at 8:30.
Yeah,
they usually don't. They usually start 8:45, 8:50 if they're coming after the second game. So we'll see. It's going to be a late night.
It sure is.
So
I do not envy you. Actually,
my guess is I'll probably wait and post. I mean, those post game things take forever. I'm going to try to get something up right when the game ends, and then Susan will send stuff probably at 2 and 3 in the morning. I'll just post that in the morning when I wake up because there's nobody, even with Caitlin and the Hawkeyes, win or lose, no one's reading at 3 in the morning.
No. Well, and if they are, they're
issues.
There's going to be hard to concentrate on the words because they'll be blurry.
Well, they're either working or they can't sleep or they're drunk.
Yeah.
Or they're just getting up to start their day.
Well, that's true.
Well, yeah, they're working. Yeah, I mean. Some people do get up at those hours. Well, Captain Steve.
Yep. I'll be up early because I got to get in here and get news ready before I head over to the pancake breakfast because I got to do that from there. So, but yeah, it's going to be fun. I just feel bad for the Iowa players. They got the game. It's 8:30 here, so it's 9:30 Cleveland. They got all day to sit around and stew waiting for that game to start.
Yeah, 9:30 in Cleveland. That's awful.
Yeah, it is.
TV.
Wow. TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
But they're young.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. The anticipation is probably just. It eats.
Well, the fact that it's Friday, they can't do it at 4 and 6. I mean, if it was Saturday, they'd do it at 4.
Oh, that's true.
You just can't do it at that on a weekday. I guess that seems to be the unwritten rule, and so yeah, it'll be a late night, but it should be fun. I was very confident going into the LSU game. I'm not as confident on this one, but. Not confident they're going to lose either. I just don't really have a gut feeling either way on this one.
It can go either way.
I mean, everyone's talking about Connecticut's lack of depth, and they do have some players out. Iowa doesn't have much depth. I mean,
they don't.
I mean, there's talk that Iowa goes like 10, 11 deep. No, they don't.
No.
Without Molly Davis, what do they go, 7 deep, maybe 8?
8.
They're very similar in that regard. So, I mean, the Caitlin Page matchup, it's going to be interesting to see what Gino does because Mulkey just basically threw Haley Van Leet to the wolves and just said, guard her. And then when she couldn't guard her, she benched her at first, and that was just a bad vibe throughout that game. Gino's going to have something. It'll be interesting to see if he just doubles her the moment she crosses midcourt, because even Caitlin, if that happens, there's not a lot she can do other than to throw the pass and then react to her pass. So we'll see what strategy he does. And this is going to be interesting, too. Paige Bueckers has never really been overshadowed before. Now she clearly is overshadowed. And this argument, oh, she's better than Caitlin. I don't even want to go there. But if you force me to go there, she's not better than Caitlin. She's not a better offensive player than Caitlin Clark. She may be a better defensive player. I'll give her that. But
probably.
She's not a better offensive player. I don't even think it's close, to be honest with you.
No, I would. The way I look at it is Paige is a complete player. She doesn't have Caitlin's range, and she's
or passing ability, or ball handling skills,
No.
or vision, or anticipation. They're both almost exact same height. Paige is a better defender. Now that she's healthy, her lateral speed. I mean, she's a very, very good player. I mean, her and Caitlin together in the same backcourt. Could you imagine that?
Well,
But
it'd be fun.
she's not a better player than Caitlin. Maybe especially offensively. But that's it's been all week on Twitter. These people just throwing the stuff, and then celebrities will throw their name in there just to. You'll see that too. I mean, I don't know, but Paige to me has. I'm not saying she has something to prove tonight, but she has more to prove to me than Caitlin does.
I would agree.
And these people saying, well, Caitlin needs to win this ship to secure her greatness. No, she doesn't. She's already great. She's already done stuff that nobody's ever done before. Would it be a stamp of a yes? I would certainly put even a firmer stamp on it. But no, she doesn't need to win this. And I think she's playing like she knows she's already made her mark. And if she wins it, great. If she doesn't, hey, 2 Final Fours, an NCAA runner-up finish, that's superstar status. She's playing loose.
Yeah.
And so we'll see.
She has been playing loose.
And
in
she
the last
hasn't been
couple games.
bitching and moaning as much since they showed the video of her dad saying "shut up." And I guess I didn't. The only one I saw was "shut up," but others around there were saying he was saying "take her out."
Take her out. He did.
Easy for Lisa's up there saying, "Yeah, easy for you to say. I got to win this game," you know. But I think that's had an effect on her.
Well, and
Yeah.
the coach talked about her maturity, especially in this last year. But she's got all this pressure on her, but she doesn't overreact as much as a lot of other players.
But
will.
she did in the Holy Cross game.
She definitely
did.
did. It got to her. Today.
She took a big step back in the Holy Cross game. She acknowledged that right afterwards on the court, and now you move on. And so we'll see. I mean, it's fascinating. The game. I'm excited. I don't get excited for much, but I'm excited. I know Susan's having the time of her life out there. I'm loving the fact that she's out there until like you guys always say, until I get the bill. Caitlin's got me a lot of page views and but she's cost me some cash too.
It's true.
Caitlin's cost a lot of media some coin, not just Caitlin. I was interesting. I was watching a little bit of, I don't know why I was, but Skip Bayless and Keyshawn Johnson. The show's usually just painful. But I wanted to see what they had to say about, and their perception is that Iowa's Caitlin and a below average team. Other than that. And I think that's really
I don't
false.
think that's true.
Below average, if you want to say average or slightly above, okay. I mean, I don't think if you took Caitlin away from this team, I don't think that team would be like in the bottom half of near the bottom of the Big Ten. I think they'd maybe be 500 or whatever. But Paul Pierce, the former Celtic, he stood up for him and said, guys, you don't get to the Final Four and then get to another Final Four just being a one-person show. They've got good players, and he brought up Kate Martin. So it'll be interesting to see if they're listening to any of this stuff, because her supporting cast, to me, is the key going into this thing.
Sid Falter has been great.
She's been great. I think she's actually, no knock on Molly, but I think she makes them better than Molly does.
Oh, I do, too.
But it's too bad they don't have Molly. I mean, that's the way I saw Molly limping in that tunnel that day, I said there's no way she's playing. No. And obviously that's the case. So, but we'll see. Like I said, and then South Carolina against NC State, they're kind of like their men's team. They're kind of a Cinderella. I'll be surprised if South Carolina loses that game. But if Iowa gets past and has South Carolina, I think Iowa can beat the South Carolina team. It's a completely different team. But I still, when I watch them, I still don't look at them as, how Iowa will just throw the ball around the perimeter and there's 3 or 4 girls that can make a 3, and finally someone gets open and they make it. Those teams aren't like that, and that's what a lot of this winning the tournament is, people making perimeter jump shots.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Well, I think one thing about Altifer is she's also much taller than Molly is, too.
Well, who
And
isn't?
she's bigger.
No, that's true.
She is, but, Molly's one of the, she's 5'6",
or 5'7".
Yeah, I mean,
most.
she's very short. So yeah, off the
Now,
Falcons
didn't
like
that little guard from LSU, didn't she decide to leave?
Yes.
Leave LSU?
yeah.
Haley Van Lith, yes.
I don't know how little is she? I don't know. Was she 5'10", 5'9"? I mean, she's not Molly size.
I think she might be 5'10", but I'm not
she's
positive.
significantly taller than Molly. But,
Yes.
but yeah, she's transferring.
I guess she thought she was going into something, and it didn't end up being what she thought.
I have no idea.
Which team do you think that Iowa's played that they had the roughest time with?
West
Virginia, by far.
Yeah, by far.
And that was at home.
Yeah, West Virginia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they fought for every point that night.
Yeah.
They
Well, they
really
were like
did.
little gnats. You just had to keep swatting them.
Yeah.
They got to Caitlin, even though she scored a lot of
They
points.
did.
It wasn't pretty at times.
And that was not a fun game to watch.
No.
So
was
they got,
brutal.
6 points in the second quarter?
It was brutal.
man.
But that's what West Virginia wanted to make it, not a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
They did.
Well, and their coach was the one who said we're going to
Yeah,
send
Yeah.
Caitlin back.
That's just a coach. you
And
know.
he almost did.
Yeah, and I so much was made about that. I mean, I didn't really. It was just a coach saying something.
No, it's-
Motivate his players.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So you think that Iowa really has a good chance tonight?
I would say.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I give them a chance. Sure.
There are two teams that have a chance to
I mean,
win
there's-
that game. The other 300 and some do not.
They're 33-4. So yeah.
Yeah, they're in the.
My sister lives in Minnesota, and she said even though this Paige comes from Minnesota, they're all rooting. She said anyway, her friends up there are all rooting for Iowa. Well,
As well they should.
They're Big Ten, so.
Yeah. That's the human
Now,
race.
the Illinois,
Bitter
they
and petty.
won. The Illinois women, they won this WB. What's this WBIT?
It's like an NIT for the women.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
those
but they
minute.
have an NIT. Isn't Minnesota in there?
Yeah, it's just a new tournament.
Okay, so maybe the women can win all the way through. If Minnesota, I'm
Maybe.
not sure. Has the Minnesota women played? I know the men played, and at the last second, Seton Hall came up and beat Indiana State.
Yeah,
What are you talking about now? Are we talking about the men's NIT now?
Yeah, well, the men's NIT that finished last night.
Well, I know. I watched it. Weren't we just talking about the women's?
But I was trying to think,
I'm
when did the
confused.
women have they already
I haven't
played?
given the women's NIT
Not
any
sure.
thought. Sorry, I don't. I guess I don't care. Do you care? I
I
don't care
thought
about the.
Minnesota was in there.
Yeah, I don't care about the women's IT. Do you, Tom?
Not really.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
If Iowa was in it, I would care. They
Yeah.
aren't.
But yeah, I can't answer any of your questions. Sorry.
Okay.
I just.
Well, let's hope for the best. And the baseball game's on TV this afternoon.
Yep. 2:00 start.
Minnesota plays St. Louis tomorrow at 2.
You're gonna be
The
watching
women's
that, Tom?
NIT.
I've got to work.
Okay. Because I wondered, I hadn't heard anything.
Get
and
away.
I
No, I
wondered.
don't. Not
No,
at 2.
I expect
they
you to.
beat-
You and Ann to be right by that TV,
Yeah.
cheering on the Big Ten.
They beat Troy Wednesday night 74-69. So there's your NIT.
Well, that's the NIT,
wrap
and then
up.
the one Illinois won is like a little lesser version of that, I guess. So, yeah. So
Yeah, so if we can get all the Iowa,
it'll just be a
all
celebration.
the Big Ten teams in there, that'll show something for the Big Ten.
Yep.
Then have the Purdue men win the NCAA.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be great.
That would be nice. Okay, guys, let's hope for the best.
All right,
You
Carl.
bet. Thanks,
Those
Scott.
Minnesota fans are no different.
Bye.
I mean, if Caitlin was at Notre Dame, would you be cheering for? If this was all Notre Dame, would you be cheering for Notre Dame and Caitlin tonight?
No.
Yeah, I mean that fans are. A lot of fans are that way. That's that's bitter. And,
I may want to watch the game,
Sure.
possibly.
but when you don't get what you want, especially if it's homegrown, you're bitter and can be petty about it.
I mean, if Caitlin had ended up at Notre Dame, would I have a Caitlin Clark shirt? No, I would not.
What if she had ended up at Iowa State? You would hate her.
Sure wouldn't have gone down well.
Could you imagine? Picture her with Fennelly and all this stuff happening in Ames. That would be a killer, wouldn't it?
Ames getting all the national publicity.
Everything that Iowa's getting, I mean, think
Yeah,
about
no,
that.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't go. Over
But
that.
Ames was not her. I think that they were third on her list. It came down to Iowa and Notre Dame, and you can't argue with her choice. What a 4 years it's been to think that
It's been so much
I think
fun.
it's over in 48 hours. I mean, or it could be
One
over
way
in
or the
12.
other. Yeah, it could.
Yeah. So, We'll see. Not as confident as I was against LSU because I think Connecticut is just a better team at moving the ball around and hitting 8 to 12-foot jumpers, whereas LSU, especially after Angel Reese got hurt.
They still didn't shoot very well.
No, and Angel Reese, what's her biggest weakness? Shooting.
Yeah.
She's a great rebounder, great post player, great defender. She can't shoot beyond 5 feet.
No.
And this tournament comes down to shooting.
And she couldn't make any layups in the second half.
No, well, part of that was her ankle.
Oh, I think so.
But still, I mean, you see her free throw form? It's just like her brother's form. I don't know who. They have the weirdest form. They're both left-handed, and neither one of them look comfortable shooting free throws. So, but we'll see. Like I said, this is a crazy time.
It is.
I had a nice conversation with Caitlin's grandfather. Yes, he called me. I had written a story about my connection to one half of her family, and he called me to thank me, and I'd written a couple things in there, and we talked about it. But it was a really good conversation. And Bob Nizzi he was always known. Oh, that's Bob Nizzi, the former Dowling football coach and athletic director, because he did that for years. Was successful. Now when he goes back, he lives in Omaha. When he goes back home, he's Caitlin's grandfather.
Yeah.
It's nobody all that other stuff. Yeah, whatever. And I said to him yesterday, he's 83. I go, that's forever. He goes, oh, I know. Their lives will never be the same again because they're all, the Caitlin Clark. She's everywhere on TV now. I see her all the time.
I loved the commercial with the city planner Caitlin Clark.
Yes, from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Whoever
thought of that?
She handles all that stuff so well too.
She shoots from here.
Yeah.
And that's the one where Reggie comes in. Oh, did you say Old Pacer?
That's a different one.
Oh, that's a different one?
That's a state.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. Okay, yes, I've seen that one too. But yeah, she's everywhere, and that's what he said. He goes, God, I turn on the TV, and he goes, I can't get away from my granddaughter. She's everywhere. And he goes, the family's just they're just taking it kind of one day at a time. It's just an amazing journey.
It really is.
But they've also acknowledged she worked very hard to get here.
Oh, yeah.
She's very fortunate. She's born with a lot of skill, 6 feet tall, a lot of stuff like that. But she's worked extremely hard, and she's driven.
She's got the right personality for a meteoric rise like that.
She does.
And, even if Paige Beckers had stayed perfectly healthy and put up pretty similar numbers to what Caitlin has, I don't think it would be the same.
Well, I'm not saying it would. I think it wouldn't be the same because she'd be doing it at Connecticut around a bunch of other 5-stars.
That's
I think
true
that
too.
would be the biggest part. Paige Beckers has a pretty good personality. You just haven't seen her enough. I saw her give a speech where she basically said, "I'm getting so much of this attention, and people think it's even because I'm white." And she's made some really impressive stands and speeches. Like she likes to talk about, no, it's not individuals, it's the game itself. She's very similar to Caitlin in a lot of ways, but I think she would never have been able to match what Caitlin did. For number one, she doesn't make 35-foot threes. She's not as fancy as a passer, but she's around other 4 and 5 stars, and not knocking Caitlin's supporting cast, but none of those girls had Connecticut offers.
No.
Hell, Caitlin didn't have a Connecticut offer. So to me, that would have hurt Paige Beckers more than anything. But we'll see. Paige Beckers, if she comes out, was like, I got something to prove tonight. That could work to her advantage, or it could work to her disadvantage for pressure-wise. But she seems like a pretty level-headed player.
She does.
I just hope she stays healthy. I mean, I was watching her when she got hurt in one of those games, and she's had 2 knee injuries. Yeah, she wears the big braces on her knee. That's the other thing about Caitlin is how durable she is.
Ann and I have been talking about that, and
obviously
she wouldn't have been able to put up these kind of numbers if she got hurt.
Has Caitlin even twisted her ankle?
Not really.
It's incredible.
No.
And her body always seems balanced. Her legs always seem where they need to be. Where so many of those knee injuries, you'll see like a knee buckle. I don't even know. Watch us jinx her. Hopefully we don't jinx her. But you know what I mean. She's just been very durable. And luck, injuries sometimes is a big part of luck is a big part of injuries too. Bad luck. So
the other Caitlin Clark from Arizona, her husband is on Twitter. He goes, we're Verizon customers. My wife gets a call one day. They fly her out to California, and she comes back a star. Thought that was.
I also saw a video, and I retweeted. Did you see the video of the girl that looks just like Caitlin?
No.
I'll find it on my Twitter. It's astonishing. I mean, it's astonishing how much. She's shorter, of course, but it's funny. I'll find it while I'm sitting.
But yeah, I like the other Caitlin. She shoots from here.
That's the best part of the whole.
It's kind of my thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great commercial. And the one that Pat mentioned with the State Farm when Reggie Miller pops up at the end just cracks me up.
Someone asked for an old pacer?
I think Reggie's a year younger than I am.
And Caitlin sounds so crestfallen when they say, somebody, when the first guy basketball player comes in, somebody says hoop or they don't have one.
They don't have one.
Then how about Jim Boeheim on the Dan Patrick show, I think it was, said that he's never, the last time he drove out of his way to see a player play besides Caitlin Clark was Pete Maravich back in 1966 or something like that.
Wow.
That's
and
pretty
Jim
amazing.
Boeheim is he's not a guy that throws around compliments very often, and it was pretty impressive what he said about.
I did see that he went out of his way to see her, but I did not see what his comments were. So
no, he's very complimentary. It's just revolutionized the game with the way she plays and what have you. But and that's true in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Well, she's just fun to watch.
She is.
It does look like her. Isn't that incredible? Yeah. And what's the odd they have the same number, Pat?
But I mean, there's people taking pictures with her. It was pretty funny when I saw that. But the celebrity status stuff it's amazing, and just enjoy it while it lasts. 'Cause
2 more games max.
Nothing good lasts forever.
Did you see the video of the team announcing that Caitlin got AP Player of the Year?
I did see that.
The Wheel of Fortune thing where they were putting up letters to spell out Caitlin Clark.
That was
AP.
funny. Yeah.
And one of the they were
girl
trying
from
to solve
Johnston, Jimmy. What's the girl's name from Johnston? The senator.
Jada Jimfy?
She joked about, Caitlin coming back? Caitlin slapped. Caitlin it was funny the way Caitlin reacted.
Yeah, everybody got a kick out of that.
Lisa does a great job with that team. And the way somehow it got caught on video the moment she was telling Molly Davis that she's not.
Yeah,
I saw
that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, and I don't. I saw somebody say, "Why would they?" That's the TV people just doing their job. I mean,
as Tommy pointed out, it's open practice.
It's open practice. Because somebody asked me if they thought that's eavesdrop. No, that's just someone doing their job.
Yeah.
And then you also got to see Lisa in her role as a head coach, pacifying her in a really tough moment, and it just looked like maybe almost like a mother talking to one of her kids.
Yeah.
And that's what Lisa's so good at. It was a real powerful moment, and I don't have any problem with the TV person shooting it.
And, Molly broke down briefly, regained her composure, and understood. You could tell. I mean, we couldn't hear anything, but
I'll tell you what, they could use Molly.
No, of course
sure.
they could.
Yeah.
They could use another. She's probably the second best ball handler on the team.
She is.
I mean, Kate would be third. I mean, Gabby is great. Gabby's not a great ball handler.
She is not.
Gabby rarely keeps the ball in her hands very long either.
No, she doesn't.
And she doesn't really go from point A to point B often by dribbling.
No, Gabby can't get to the
hoop. Kate can, but no, Molly is their second best ball handler point guard.
And Sid gets to the hoop.
Sid gets, Sid. I'm not sure what position Sid is. She doesn't really seem to have a position.
She doesn't, does she?
She's a little too short to be a small forward, a little too big to be but she's about 6 feet. She's a little short, but she's just a good player, and she's going to be Sid. And to me, 2 of the key players next year are Feuerback and Allfalter. Mm-hmm. They are going to be huge as far as how good they're going to be. I mean, I know the freshmen coming in, but you want at least a couple of those freshmen sprinkled in and contributing. But if you have to rely on your 4 freshmen to be your key, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
But I don't think they will.
No.
Taylor McCabe's going to be.
She's going to be important, and but I don't see Taylor McCabe. I see Sid, and Sid's going to have the ball in her hand. She's going to play a real versatile role. Taylor McCabe, to me, she's going to be a 3-point shooter, which she's going to be like Gabby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe she can handle the ball a little bit more, but
she doesn't have Gabby's defensive abilities at this point. But boy, can she shoot!
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hey, you guys talking about Molly, and could she shoot technical free throws to kind of honor her?
It's an interesting.
I suppose if she was.
I think, but would you want her shooting over Caitlin?
I don't believe I would.
I no knock, but
I mean, cause especially with the hurt knee. I mean, that's
I mean, it's a nice gesture, but I would rather have Caitlin at the line.
An interesting thought.
Well, there may be an opportunity. There may be a moment, when that could happen. I just was wondering if within the rules of the game, if that would be permitted.
Sure. Why not?
I don't see. Yeah, I don't think it's like football where they do an injury report. I'm not sure exactly.
Well, she has not been suited up for any of these games yet.
I mean,
No,
obviously
but if they
she'd
want,
have to be suited
they'd
up.
have to suit her up or what have you. But
Yeah.
again, you're saying you think Iowa might get ahead far enough to where they could just do that as a kind of an honor?
That's what I would say. I mean, we're at the end of the season. We're at the end of her career. If the game's not on the line, let her stand at the line and knock one down or two down and then go back.
Yeah, I love your
again.
optimism. I mean,
Boy, I sure hope he's right.
it could,
We're going to be there. You guys are just, pessimists. Don't worry about it. We're there.
All right.
That's
love
an
it.
interesting thought.
Yeah.
That's never would have crossed my mind.
What, an easy win in the Final Four?
Well,
That's happened before.
It's happened before.
yes.
It would be interesting to see how Gino would react to getting beat soundly in the Final Four. That would be. I mean, the last time these teams played was
maybe that would be the technical that would allow Molly to shoot.
So don't you think that UConn's probably going to be intimidated since they've only been to 23 other Final Fours?
He's won 11. He's won 11.
Isn't that something?
His first one was 29 years ago, 1995, with Rebecca
Lobo in her last year.
and they've just been a machine ever since then. And the last time they played Iowa was in the Sweet 16 during COVID, and they beat Iowa soundly. And if you look back to video there, how scrawny Caitlin looked.
I know.
Paige did too, but Caitlin has developed more physically, I think, than Paige. She's thicker now. They're both very skinny, but Caitlin was not near as strong back then. That's why she doesn't get pushed off drives anymore to the basket.
Yeah.
She can withstand contact.
She used to fall down all the time.
Fall down all the time and look for fouls. Now she just withstands contact, either makes a good pass or scores or draws a free throw.
First time I saw her a couple of years ago in person, I thought, how is that skinny little girl making all
She's
those
not little.
points?
She's 6 feet tall.
Well, when you saw her so scrawny like that, that was the...
Well, the first thing when I saw her, I couldn't believe how tall she was. Because I'd never seen her play in high school. And I didn't pay attention to the 6 feet. And I probably looked at it and said, yeah, 6 but she's legitimate 6 feet.
Oh, yeah.
She's got big hands.
Big hands, and she's got long arms. And she was built to play basketball. I mean, she really was.
Well, and she's made the most of it, too.
Yep.
Yes, she has.
Well, yeah, and boy, just the work that she puts in or has put in is just, that's how you get to be an elite player. You just live, breathe, and do it all the time. And on top of it, she's a great student.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-oh. The Yukon blog just started following me on Twitter. Official Twitter of SB Nation's Yukon blog. Tweets by Amon, Dan, and Larry.
Oh, boy.
What about his other brother,
You think they're
Larry?
looking for trouble?
Call them Curly, Moe, and Larry and just rip them.
Rip them. What have you guys done lately?
Why don't you start a little Twitter war today?
No, thank you. That's the last thing I want to do.
It really is too bad the game is so late, though.
Yeah.
No, it just, and from a business standpoint, for us in the media, it just kills traffic. I mean, because if Iowa loses, are you going to want to read what we have to write tomorrow?
Not at all.
It's going to be old news by then anyway.
No.
Yeah, it's just, and if they win, let's say.
If they win, I will read whatever
but you won't
write.
be.
But
It won't be like with a football game at 1 o'clock. You get stuff up at 6. People will read that stuff. The timing of this just doesn't work for anybody.
No.
In the media, but other than TV, other than the TV that
it's great for that.
for the TV the national TV that are hosting the event. It doesn't make it easy for like the local TV stations that are out there. I mean, they're not going to be able to get any of this on their 10 o'clock news, and it's going to be it's late, but too bad they couldn't have played
That's
the early
what it
game.
is. Yeah, it is.
Couldn't have played the early game, but somebody has to play the late game. So,
And Mr. Suter, if by chance the Iowa loses, what will be the mood in Iowa City tomorrow?
It'll be somber.
yes,
Not sepulchral? I was waiting for sepulchral.
No, I think somber is
Somber,
more.
okay.
deflated,
Yeah.
deflated.
Yeah.
because you've got the loss itself, but then you've also got Kate, she's gone.
The Caitlin Clark era
and their
is done.
sidekicks are gone. They'll never play for us again. A lot of that'll be even going on if they win the national championship. After the delirium of winning it fades, people will come to terms with, wow, it's over. But that'll take. I mean, there'll be if they win the national title, that buzz will go on for a while here in town.
I'll be disappointed if they lose tonight. I mean, make no mistake, but this team has already really staked their claim, I think.
I wouldn't be
disappointed.
disappointed. I mean, you mean disappointed that they just because they didn't win, or disappointed that they shouldn't lose to Connecticut? They're way better.
Oh, no, not that.
Okay, I see what you mean. I'm with you on that.
No.
I wouldn't be now. I'd be disappointed if they come out and got beat 87-50, and Caitlin got 2 technical. You know, I mean stuff like that. But that ain't going to happen.
No, I would be shocked by that.
Yeah, I don't think. I think this is going to be a close game.
I do too.
I think it's gonna come down to the wire. Whereas that LSU game in that second half, there's times where it felt like Iowa was going to break that game open.
Yeah.
Because LSU just couldn't score, and you knew that Angel just was not 100%, and it just never felt like LSU was going to win that game in the second half.
It didn't.
Well, you made a good comment early on in this run, Pat, when you said that whoever gets to the Final Four, they're all going to be pretty even. There's not one team like the old.
Other than NC State. NC State's a little bit of a Cinderella, but they're playing really well, and they can shoot.
Right, but I mean, there's no team that's like, oh, they're a lock. You know.
No. There's none of those old Connecticut and Tennessee teams.
Yeah.
And there was a couple years where Stanford had a team, and that Baylor with Brittany Griner, you knew they were probably going to win the national title. And 4 or 5 of those Connecticut. Did I read Ramaya Moore won the national championship every year she was at Connecticut?
I believe she did.
Think about that. I mean, we're here trying to get one with a great player, and we act like it's the think of Connecticut. I mean, these things are sort of expected. Now, they've been away for a while, so this game is interesting for Connecticut's point of view, too, because they've kind of been off that main stage.
They have.
And so, like I said, it'll be fascinating to see what Gino has in store for Caitlin, but it's also going to be fascinating to see what Lisa has in store for UConn. I think sometimes Lisa gets overlooked. Lisa won. I mean, of course, Caitlin was huge. But Lisa, to me, was a huge factor in that win over South Carolina because she took the chance. We're sagging in, and we're not budging, and it worked.
And it worked.
And she didn't buckle.
It worked in spades. It did.
Yes, it did.
Oh, we take a break.
Okay. Okay, Jim, let's do it.
Listening to Hawkfanatic on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. GT Carr, owner of Supple's Building and Remodeling, has been offering unmatched service and quality for over 25 years. The trained professionals at Supple's Building and Remodeling will install and guarantee the products used in any job, no matter how big or small. They also stand behind their work and offer no-nonsense, exceptional customer service from design to completion and beyond. Whether it's a simple window replacement or a major house addition, you'll have the confidence that Supple's Building and Remodeling is committed to quality. Visit suples.net or call them today at 319-337-2246.
84 years of preparation. The wait is over. The Oxyokin's brand new book, Our Recipes, Our Story, is on sale now. 90 pages in full color, 67 recipes, and our unique history for only $24.99. Get yours while they last at the Oxyokin. Available soon by mail order along with our current serving hours at Oxyokin.com.
The Oxyokin.
Oxyokin, in the heart of Amana.
Don't wait for an emergency to get a backup for your car keys. Unlike the olden days, car keys have gotten extremely complex. Mike's eKeys for Cars can generate the most technically advanced automotive keys that are on the market today. For spares and lost keys, Mike's eKeys for Cars can produce most conventional transponder, high security, and remote head keys. Mike's eKeys for Cars will keep you on the road. Call 319-330-9185 and schedule an appointment today. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 319-330-9185 today.
1-800-800-ROSE. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist is the only number you need to know to send flowers anywhere in the country or Canada from anywhere in the country. 1-800-800-ROSE. It's so easy. Just remember one number. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist. 1-800-800-ROSE. Remember.
Are you tired of living in a home that doesn't quite meet your needs? Then it's time to call the experts at Streets Maintenance. Their team of skilled professionals specializes in renovations and remodeling, transforming your home into the space you've always dreamed of. From kitchen, bath remodels to complete home renovations, no job is too big or too small. Streets Maintenance will work with you every step of the way to ensure your vision becomes a reality. So don't wait any longer. Call Streets Maintenance to schedule your consultation at 400-4483. Let's start building your dream home today.
Once upon a time, in the land of the Hawkeyes, a business grew. a business that would become synonymous with real estate. Hi, I'm Steve Anderson of Hawkeye Title and Settlement. When you're buying or selling your home, you'll need title and settlement services. Consider the Hawkeye Title and Settlement team. Give us a call at 351-8600. Hawkeye Title and Settlement, the team you love, the people you trust.
Table to Table Food Rescue works with area grocery stores, restaurants, and food wholesalers to keep wholesome food from going to waste. And we distribute that food to social service agencies who serve the hungry. Help us help our friends and neighbors in need by volunteering your time or making a monetary donation. Call Table to Table at 319-337-3400. That's 319-337-3400. Table to Table Food Rescue. It's the right thing to do.
Update your bathroom with a beautiful shower enclosure from Knievel Windows. Get rid of your old ugly shower curtain and have Knievel Windows replace it with a sliding glass door. Or if you're doing a complete bathroom remodel, talk to Knievel Windows about unique cast, glass, and frameless options. Get expert advice to find the perfect solution for your home because Knievel Windows knows windows, doors, and more. 700 South Capitol Street or visit their website, KnievelWindows.com.
KCJJ Weather, brought to you by Plum Supply.
Plum Supply kitchens and baths. Your home never looks so beautiful.
Partly cloudy today. We'll get to around 52 for a high this afternoon. The wind out of the north becoming easterly this afternoon at about 5 to 15. Tonight it'll be clear with a low of 30. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, becoming a little breezy in the afternoon with a high of 56. Going to get windy with rain tomorrow night. Sunday into Monday, there could even be a few thunderstorms late on Sunday into Monday. After that, we're going to warm back to the mid-60s for much of next week. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Outside now, it's 40.
Hawkfanatic. The mighty 1630 KCJJ is back. Tom Suter, Pat Harty. Yours truly, Jim Hunter at the helm for today.
At the helm of the sinking ship.
Oh, yeah. Captain will be back at the post tomorrow and all next week. So just taking a day off today.
So what time you going out to the pancake thing tomorrow?
Well, I will try to be there so I can do our first little chat like at 5:30, 5:45, and then be there till 10 or whenever the interviews are done. Sometimes we run a little overtime, but we do it.
Yeah, I won't be.
I know you. Yeah, I didn't expect you to be, but I've got somebody already in charge of getting me a schedule and some bios of the coaches, so I won't sound totally ignorant. So that's half the battle right there. I can ask the softball questions, but I'd like to know a little more about them before I talk to them.
When in doubt, just talk about pancakes and sausage, and life is good.
Yeah, and how about that game last night?
Yeah, well, you may want to talk about that.
Well, we got to. I mean,
you may not.
So the baseball and softball teams are both playing this weekend. The tennis is playing. Men's golf, both men's and women's golf are playing in tournaments this starting this Sunday.
So baseball is hosting Michigan, right?
They are, yes, and they are on. They're starting at 2:00 today, and then they
doubleheader tomorrow.
Yeah, because they're expecting rain on Sunday. So
yeah, Breck's pitching today, 2:00. If you can find a place to park, I would. I'm thinking about going over there. The problem is though, if I go over there a game, get over 5. By the time you get home 6. The women's game will almost be starting, and so we'll see. I mean, I would like to. I mean, once the basketball season ends, I'm going to be we cover most of the Big Ten home games with baseball, but it's just kind of hard right now with all the other stuff going on with this women's basketball. And Iowa does produce a story. We'll put the story, but I want to see Brody pitch. He struggled his last 2 outings. He's coming off 2 outings where, I mean, his last outing was not very good.
So now they've won both of their
both
Big Ten
series, but they've
right?
done it weirdly. They've gotten blown out in the Friday featured game. Brody hasn't pitched well in either game, and yet they've come back to win the series with okay pitching, but just scoring a ton of runs against 2 teams that, I mean, I don't think Minnesota and Purdue are picked to be conference contenders. I may be underestimating Purdue, but Minnesota hasn't been very good for a while.
No.
Now, Michigan, I mean, their conference records, but at one point Michigan was, I think Tommy looked it up, they were like 9-17, which means they lost to a bunch of good warm weather schools early in the season. So this Michigan team also has flaws. My prediction is I see Iowa winning this series 2 Two out of 2-1, and if what would that make them? That would make them 6-3. Hey, if they can win every series 2-1, they're going to probably win the championship. So we'll see. But they got to get this Friday situation figured out. They got to get Brody back on track. I mean, he's had some great strikeout performances this year, but he's just still too many free bases. Still too many free bases by all their pitchers. That's what's been, and you just got to work through it. But man, the offense is coming alive. They got a lot of different. I mean, the Nelson kid and this Davis Kopp. They've got some new pieces on offense that are really helping out.
Looks like they had a bit of an earthquake in New York.
It does indeed.
Didn't last very long, apparently. But
felt in New York and surrounding areas.
What did it measure?
It doesn't say. But
so
nothing huge. But they don't normally have earthquakes in New York City. So.
We experienced an earthquake when we were up in Alaska, when the band was up in Alaska.
Really?
And it's very eerie.
I'll bet.
It's an eerie feeling. Things just felt like they were sliding sideways, and it was just strange.
Imagine living in earthquake regions and what that does to the foundation of your house. I mean, we worry about droughts and too much water. Think about, I wonder what kind of insurance they have for foundations and stuff because wouldn't an earthquake just wreak havoc on a foundation to a home?
You would think.
Yeah, you would think so.
That would be tough, kind of like what floods do for homes in the,
I'm guessing they don't have any basements, for one. I wouldn't think.
Well, I got a buddy who lives in earthquake, and he's got a basement.
Does he?
Yeah, he lives out in California, and I guess I've never really, hey, what do you do in case of an earthquake? I mean, the last place you want to go probably is to the basement.
Yeah.
Unlike a tornado.
Yeah.
So, you were just down in Florida. I mean, I've read, the home insurance down there is just, it's astronomical for some of these people. Like $1,000 a month.
If you can even get it.
My home insurance went up $12 last year. It's about the only thing around here that doesn't go up. I mean, the property taxes are ridiculous. But home insurance, were you staying at someone's home down there? Or?
No, we stayed at two different hotels.
Yeah, could you imagine? I mean, you're saying there's people down in Florida that can't even get homeowners insurance?
Yeah.
Think about that. That would be that's walking a tightrope.
Boy, it sure is. And you could get earthquake insurance here if you want. It's real cheap. But on the outside chance that we get one.
Well, what's that thing in St. Louis? Or in Missouri? New Madrid Falls. That's in Missouri, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're saying when that one goes, it could be a massive earthquake.
I believe they had a small earthquake in 1990.
I think they did, and it kind of brought attention to that.
That one I felt. I was in my parents' basement. I'm like, what is this?
That's like in northern Missouri, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It went in the 1800s, made the Mississippi River flow backwards.
Wow.
They had a huge one in the 1800s.
Wow.
Think about that.
So, yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, Mother Nature always wins, man. We do our best, but...
Yeah.
No, but it was an eerie feeling.
I couldn't imagine. That's one thing.
I have felt an earthquake before.
I've never been in a tornado.
Never been in one.
I've been near a hurricane. When I lived down in Florida, there's one that came about 90 miles from us. But, all it felt like was just a, kind of a tropical storm, which there was a ton of those while I was down there. But, I've never seen a tornado. I've seen stuff that maybe looks like could become a tornado, but it didn't while I was watching.
Steve and Tommy were here a year ago when when the tornado snapped the power lines.
Did they actually see it?
Yeah.
Saw the tornado?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. That was where it stopped. It could have, thank God it didn't go any farther and, cause havoc over here, but it did knock us off for almost a little over a day.
It did.
Yeah, I remember that.
We couldn't do the pancake breakfast, remember? Because we weren't on the air.
I do remember that.
But the power company was out here bright and early, and I stopped by in the afternoon, and they were already almost done. I just was totally impressed with that. Seating new poles and everything. So they got us back up as quick as humanly possible, I would say. So, but the weather is much nicer this weekend. There is rain in the forecast for Sunday, as we've said, but it's supposed to be nice today. In the
beautiful.
50s.
Perfect right now.
It's beautiful. I'm going to
low 60s tomorrow.
I'm going to spend a lot of time outside today.
Yeah,
if I can.
Or sorry, mid 50s tomorrow. Low 60s on Monday.
What are we? We're 10 hours, about 10 hours till tip off.
Yep.
You doing that right?
Yeah. Let's see.
11.
You think it'll be about quarter till
Well, it's
9?
it's listed at 8:30, right? That would be the earliest it starts, right? Would be 8:30, right?
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
it's 9:50
it depends
right
on
now.
how the first game plays out, because there's got to be at least is it a half an hour?
I believe
between
so,
games?
yeah.
So, and now that first game, it wouldn't surprise me if South Carolina would maybe have its way in the second half and get it to
I
where
would think
it's
so.
not a free throw fest at the end. But if it's a free throw fest at the end, those games sometimes take 2 hours, 15, 20 minutes. That pushes that thing 8:45. Next thing you know, 9 o'clock. I mean, we'll see.
Can you imagine like a 3 overtime game? The tip off at
Stranger
like
things have happened.
11 o'clock our time.
Stranger things have happened.
Well, that Caitlin would explode.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how late this tip-off is going to be. But because that might have some impact on TV ratings.
Sure it will.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's
10 o'clock on the East Coast.
Sure. I mean,
There's
that's
probably some 6 and 7-year-old little boys and girls that would maybe watch the game that may not be able to stay up that late.
That's true.
Exactly.
I don't know how that figures in. I don't know how they count viewers because they would be part. How do they measure? Let's say there's a family of 6 watching the game. How do they know all 6 are watching the game when they do 12.5 million? How do they figure that stuff out?
I think they could measure by household, don't they?
I know, but what if there's a family of 10 and only one's watching the game? Do you still get 10 viewers?
I just think it counts as they just say households. Do they actually say viewers? I'm not sure how that works.
No, it says viewership on all the reports.
Oh,
I
that's
ever
true.
get.
That's true.
So none of us know.
I have no idea. No.
Maybe this caller does. Hello.
No, I was just going to tell you, they got. You ever seen them digital billboards?
Yes, I
on
like
the
them.
streets. They got some on like 4 of the bigger, busier roads in Sioux City. There's it's got the 2 logos and it says days, hours, minutes, counting down to tip off tonight.
That's very cool.
That is cool.
And one of them, they said that they were saying if they could get some type of wireless internet, they can broadcast it on the billboard on one of the streets here.
Oh, that would be way cool.
Yeah, then you could have accidents at red lights and stuff.
That'd make things interesting for you, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys, have a good one.
Have a good one, you too.
85-81 Iowa.
All right.
We'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, I forgot the South Carolina score last year was 77-73. I thought it was higher scoring than that. Didn't Caitlin have 41 of Iowa's 77?
I believe she did.
And usually when she does that, the results aren't as positive. I hope tonight she's got my line for her tonight would be 30, 12, and 8. If she gets double digits assists, they are really hard to beat.
If she has as low as 30 for her, then we need at least 3 others in double figures.
Well, that's
don't
the
you
12
think?
assists.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, those 12 assists, that could be 24 points. It could be as much as 36 points. Because I'm guessing when a lot of Caitlin's assists are 3-point shots to Gabby, to Kate,
and Sid,
because Gabby doesn't really do much besides make 3-point shots. I can't remember the last time I saw her drive to the basket, do a head fake, and do like a turnaround jumper. She just doesn't. She's very one-dimensional on offense. I'm not knocking her because she's great on defense, but she is very one-dimensional. She's not much of a ball handler. She's a stationary shooter, and when she's hot, she's hot. And when she's not, she's not. But she's been hot a lot more in March than not.
Sure is.
Hello.
Hey, Pat, it's Mia calling you from Colorado.
Hey, Mia, how are you doing?
Good. Hi, Suter. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good. Hey, I just wanted to share a cool thing out here. You know, Vail can be an international community, and during one of the games that Caitlin and the Hawkeyes were playing, I was in one of the really fancy hotels, and this family came out of the pool area. I think they were French. They were speaking French. And they were watching the game in the hotel lobby on the way to their hotel room. And so just like the international reach, like the little girl wanted to stop and watch the game. And I think that that's another thing that's so amazing to me is that families from all over the world that come here to ski for a week, like these families know who she is.
Yeah, that is. It's incredible.
Yeah, so I just was like, wow, like, of course, being from Iowa and Iowa City and being here now and then seeing people in the restaurants, like all these different languages, all these different cultures, like they know who she is, they know who the women are at the Hawkeyes, and they want to watch. So
I mean, that's the power of Caitlin, but it's also the power of social media and the internet.
It is.
Yeah,
You bet.
But you're right, though. That's fascinating.
Yeah, so, all right, I just want to say hi. Thanks, guys.
All right, Mia,
Thanks,
how you?
Mia.
What's the weather like out there?
You know what? what? Today we're going to be 60 degrees and sunny, and
Just like us.
Our mountain has like 3 more weeks of activities, and then we'll shut down. So we still have snow on the mountain, and the snowboarding is still good. So come on out and we'll ride.
God, that sounds cool. That sounds like so much fun. All right, well, man, that sounds like fun. Well, nice to hear from you as always.
Yep. Take care, guys.
All right.
Take care, Mia.
I've never snowboarded. I've snow skied a few times, but man, then that's she's out in Vail. Worst places you could be than Vail.
Yeah,
this is true. Did you ever play in Colorado?
Yeah, played at
any mountain resorts?
Mount Crested Butte.
See, that to me would be fun as a band going to a resort and.
Well, you would think.
But yeah, I guess I'm guessing you didn't spend any time skiing.
But some of the guys did.
Oh, you did take the time to ski? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we the way the resort worked, we played a matinee, and the crowds were always really good. Okay.
What would a matinee start at, roughly?
Oh, I can't remember. 4 o'clock,
okay.
Maybe. And then you play at night as well, and then you would have maybe a decent crowd for your first set, and then after that, nothing.
And where would they go?
To bed.
Oh, really?
Because there was
So
skiing to be
Oh,
done.
so they get up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
You wouldn't have any drunk stragglers sitting in the front row yelling Freebird
Not
or Seeger?
much.
Not much of that?
No.
Okay. So, but yeah, that would be. So you'd play two different performances in one day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they were getting their money's worth out of you.
They did.
So were there times where you played to like almost empty audiences?
Yeah.
You know what you could have called.
Sometimes.
You know what you could have called your band then?
What?
The Lick Lighters. Get it? It's a
We
joke.
coulda.
Instead of.
Except everything would have to be a slow song.
Well, there you go.
Oh.
Did you guys do any slow songs?
Oh yeah.
Did you do Beth by Kiss?
No.
God.
You guys
No
played that the other day. I
Yeah.
heard it on the station the other day.
I
don't mind. I like that song. That's the only Kiss song I could even.
No, that's a good song.
I'm not a Kiss fan
No,
at all.
not at all.
Not at all.
No.
Never understood the Kiss infatuation.
They just sold their catalog for $300 million.
Good. I'm like I said, they are huge. I just never understood it.
Money well spent. $300 million. Throw it in the trash.
They are masters of marketing.
They are, but their music itself, though, it never did anything.
Nope,
But I
me
remember when I
neither.
heard Beth, I'm like, wow. When I first heard it, I didn't know them. They
said,
said
"That's Kiss?"
Kisses, and I'm like, you're kidding me that was Kiss. Who actually sang on that?
I don't know.
It wasn't Gene Simmons, was it?
I don't know.
I don't think it was him.
I think it was Peter Criss, but I don't know.
And then what's the other? Ace Frehley, who has one of my. I love Back in the New York Groove. I love that song.
really?
Oh God, I love that song. I've always loved.
And wasn't the bass player Paul Stanley?
I believe so. Yes. Oh yes, I love Back in the New York Groove. And I think I've heard that on here a few times.
Yes.
I think I have. No, it's a good song.
I don't know it by name.
You'd know it if you heard it. Is Molly in today?
Yes.
I may make a request for Ace Frehley as I'm leaving here. That may be my request for today. So, did I hear you say you didn't have any rain while you were down there?
Peter Criss on vocals.
No rain while you were down there? That's incredible. To be down,
it was great.
Not humid?
The weather was great. Not really.
It's still, it's still a little early for humid. I remember when I lived there, it got really unbearable, like in early May is when it started to get really sticky.
But the beach itself, it's kind of sloped,
Mm-hmm.
and so when you get into go in and swim and stuff, it's the shifting sand the whole time that you're there, and it just feels vaguely unstable.
Uh-huh.
So
Any riptides?
The tide was bad. Yeah.
Any sharks?
Not that I saw. I didn't spend hardly any time in the water.
When I lived down there, I didn't either. Yes, it was, when I moved down there, it was 12 years after Jaws, but I'm like, I ain't going. I hardly spent any time in the ocean when I lived there.
I couldn't get over how salty the water was.
Yeah, that's
the first
another
time
thing, too.
the first time you get in a regular.
It's way different, isn't it?
Way different, yeah.
But you got to be careful of riptides. You know what those are.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They always say if you get into when people panic and try to swim to shore, you're supposed to swim parallel to the shoreline because
Yes.
eventually the riptide gives way, and then you'll get out of it. That's easy to say when you're sitting here in a
when
you know, radio station,
Yeah.
not caught in one.
You know what you should do?
Luckily, I've never been caught in one.
Yeah.
So.
No, I don't want to deal with that.
So did the girls were they in the water most of the time, or?
No. I mean, the motel that the girls and us were at for the wedding was not on the beach.
Oh.
We did have a beach day.
Uh-huh.
Because the wedding party had a room on the beach, or a hotel on the beach.
Did you bring Wapsie with you?
Wapsie would not have enjoyed herself, I do not believe.
So who watched Wapsie?
Jenny Collins the first 2-3 days, and then Molly got back and
Oh,
watched
okay.
her.
So yeah, we won't. There's no treats left.
Well,
so it's going to be up to me, I believe, to get them, which is fine because I don't know if could we do a show anymore on Saturdays without feeding that dog treats.
There'd be some barking.
There would be some.
And how long do you think it would last? I thought about that because Captain even said something. Hey, we're out of treats.
Molly would get, or Wapsie would get surly.
Because I think we've created a monster in that respect.
The guy had to go get some treats last night for her for home.
Was she barking?
Her chew sticks.
Was she barking?
She was just so glad we were home. That
Yeah, that's what's weird about my dogs. Maybe it's just me because as they got older and I got older, when I came home, I even traveled a lot more than you do because I do it more frequently. When I was at the Press Citizen, I went to everything. Late in life, those dogs wouldn't even get off the couch if they knew it was me. Now, if it was a different car sound and it was somebody else, oh, God, they'd be, who's this at the door? And then if they'd see it was somebody just dropping me off and then that was just me walking, they'd go back under the couch and go back because they were just used to me.
But they do very much know the car
Oh,
sounds.
God, without question.
Yep.
Funny story, my buddy in Des Moines, when I used to go home all the time to Des Moines, he had the Chow and the Black Lab, and I was really close to both those dogs. They loved me. I mean, that's when I went home so much. I wasted so much time and gas, but he claims, and his girlfriend, who's now his wife, claims that they lived on the corner house, so when they heard my car as I'm turning off the street into their lot, the dogs knew it was me. They would literally go crazy because they knew the sound of my car.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that incredible?
It is.
It is. That's amazing what they can do. But I'm sure Wapsie was glad to see you.
She was.
What time did you roll in yesterday?
Let me think here.
Oh, you drive?
No. We landed in CR at about 5:45 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And got home about 6:45.
Well, that's not too bad.
No.
Any flight problems or anything like that?
Flawless.
That's nice.
Absolutely flawless.
That wasn't the case around some parts of the country.
No, and I mean, people say, "Oh, I only fly at Delta," because it's a great airline. Yeah, they're all great airlines until they're not.
Right, until you have a bad experience.
And we have had bad experiences on every single airline,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had great experiences on every single.
As have I.
I mean. But the people that say, "Oh, I only fly Delta,"
well,
whatever.
I know people that only fly Delta for business reasons because of either some type of the company they work for. I know a couple of people that do that. And I've flown Delta a lot, and for the most part, they've been.
I would say they've been fine.
I'd say, yeah. For the most part, most of them do pretty well, but the flying is such a erratic experience, and I think sometimes people are just on edge and they maybe get a little unhinged more than they would under other circumstances. And like I said, I can't stand. The only part about flying I like is actually I don't mind the being in the air part.
No,
it's everything else. I love the landing part, but it's everything. It's like a 6:15 flight, getting up at 3:34. It's that crap that I hate about flying. Yep. And when I was at the Press Citizen, I get a lot of my flights were inconvenient time-wise because they were cheaper tickets.
Sure they were.
But I can't complain about that. But I remember times like on Christmas morning, getting ready for the Sun Bowl, flying out of Des Moines 7 days before the game starts at like 4:30 in the morning. I did so much of that for years. That was just part of the gig.
And when the girls were younger, we had to do the bad times and stuff to save money, and It's no fun. Well, flying is no fun anymore.
Even if you're flying first class, it's not that much fun.
No, we have only done first class once.
I've done it once.
Once, maybe twice.
And it was by mistake.
And
Somehow I got a
nice.
first class ticket working for the Press Citizen by mistake, and they just let me stay in there. And it's a difference. I mean, you got leg room, and the food's a little bit. Airlines don't feed you like the old days.
They don't feed you at all.
I mean, I'm old enough to remember you'd get kind of a cheesy, kind of a 4-plated little frozen dinner. But
back in the day.
Now you're lucky to get crackers,
pretzels,
or peanuts.
Or biscottis.
Those little, little like gingerbread things.
Yes.
That's what you get now, and some places still give you a beverage.
I mean, not even a stinking ham and cheese sandwich.
Really?
How? No,
not anymore.
Nothing.
No, that's been about the last 4 or 5 years, hasn't it? At least
or 10,
maybe 10. Yeah, maybe longer than that. I would get it cost-cutting measures and a lot more seats in a lot smaller places. Everything is just
so the in-flight meals are non-existent now.
Except first class.
First class,
or business class.
Okay,
but for steerage, no.
Well, the last plane I was in, I jumped out of, and that was 30 some years ago. Last commercial flight I was on was 1976.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
How did you pull that off?
Pull what off?
Not having to fly somewhere.
I almost did when I was working in the Quad Cities.
Well, I guess I'm thinking, a lot of people have jobs that don't make them.
Yeah,
they don't have to fly.
I almost was able to fly to Cincinnati for a job interview.
I just happened to have a job where flying was, back when newspapers were still, functioning at full capacity.
First time I flew was 1972 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we did about 20.
And had a choice between a Salisbury steak meal or fried chicken.
Wow.
I would take either one. I
went with the fried chicken, and it was fabulous.
Really? I like Salisbury steak, too.
God, it was good.
We had a family vacation my sophomore year of high school. We went to California, so we flew out there for that and flew back.
My first time was by myself at the age of 9.
Wow.
And it was all pre-planned. I was going to visit I flew from Des Moines to, I believe it was Milwaukee, where my sister was living. I can't remember why, but the airline, they were so good. I mean, it was prepared. They knew that there was going to be a child flying by. It was, but
and they took care of it.
It was incredible.
Yep.
I mean, it was incredible how they took care of me. And that was the first time I flew, and then I didn't fly again until I started working for the Press Citizen. That would have been almost 18 years later. And then from 91 to 2008 or 9, I flew it a lot.
But they're really good about that. If there's an unaccompanied minor,
they really are.
It's hats off to them for that.
No, they really do a good job. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was my first one. I may have been going to Philadelphia too. I can't remember. It was one of the two. It was a family thing, but no, they did well.
So have you ever had any flights where the turbulence is just incredibly bad?
4 or 5, yeah. We had a flight flying into East Lansing back in the mid-'90s. It was me and I believe Scott Norris, a photographer from the Press Citizen, was with. We were in one of those little prop planes, and man, we were bouncing like a basketball. It was, but I always look at I never saw any panic from the flight attendants or the pilots. I mean, it was business, but I had just never been in turbulence. Now, we did have one flying back from Atlanta after one of those Florida Bowl games. It was terrible. We had a time where we were dipping, and there were times where the flight attendants looked like that was my scariest one. They looked like they were scared a few times. It was rough, and I remember getting off the plane and looking at the pilot saying, "Thank you for getting us through." And he kind of smiled, business as usual. But that one I think was a little bit more. There was some freaking. There was a point where it didn't seem like the plane had any. What's the word I'm looking for? Buoyancy or any propeller or any. It wasn't being. It was just kind of floating.
It was being buffeted by the.
It just seemed like it was floating in the air and kind of going down. And I'm like, this ain't right, But that lasted for maybe 3 or 4 seconds. But then we didn't. The flight attendants didn't panic, so it must have just been business as usual during some really bad weather. That was back from Atlanta, coming off one of Iowa's latest Florida Bowl games that I went to. Maybe the one where they beat Mississippi State. What was that one? They all blended. Was
Outback Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, I remember that.
I can't remember what year, but
I can't remember. They all blend together after a while. They played in so many of the same bowl games.
Yeah.
They all kind of just you get them mixed up.
I think the worst we had was Atlanta, but it was I think the only time that downtown Atlanta ever had a tornado, and we were there.
Wow.
We were in it.
Yeah, I've never.
That wasn't fun.
I'm sure not.
But yeah, no, flying is a necessary evil. There's sometimes where you just can't avoid it.
No, and it saves you a lot of time, but it's that's it, though. I mean,
well, the other thing is when you land, you don't have a car. Unless you
yes.
got to rent one, you got to rent one. But that's a whole nother process.
Yep.
But like Susan Harmon, she drove to Chicago, flew to Albany, flew back from Albany to Chicago, and then she went and stayed with friends for a couple nights in Columbus, Ohio.
Neat.
She's got her own car. So she's obviously saving me a little more. I'm paying for all her gas and all that stuff, but she saved herself a lot of travel. There was really not much time to go from Albany to Iowa City to Cleveland. They had a press conference with Bluter the next day after they advanced to the Final Four. The very next morning, Lisa was doing a press conference. So yeah, there wasn't that much time. When they played Monday, and here we are Friday. So yeah, this is.
So you wonder how they barely have time to do the scout for their opponent.
Yeah, none of the Iowa personnel, they went straight to Cleveland. Like, we haven't had any football press conferences yet other than Kirk's introductory one, but the next 2 weeks we're going to have conferences on Tuesday and Thursday at each of these. We're going to have 4 press conferences over the next 2 weeks with football because there's been no reason to do any football right now because, nobody's here. And right now I don't think there's a lot of interest until this basketball stuff gets over. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Do you care about
agree.
spring football right now?
Not for a second.
And I'm not a huge, big proponent of spring football anyway. It is what it is. It's just part of the job. I think so many false narratives get triggered in spring.
Yes.
And there's always the people looking for that some way to ignite the fans. Oh, man. Like the open practice we have in spring, if they complete a couple 20-yard seam routes, Lester's going to be – I can only imagine what we're going to be reading. It's a new era. The old days of the – ground and pound are over. This is basketball on grass. We'll have some of that.
No more lateral passes.
Kirk came out and said the offense was going to look different, but he's done that before. And what I wrote, I'll believe all of that when I see it. That's where I am with everything with Iowa football offense. I'm just finishing my athletes.
Fair enough.
My Athlons preview. I have to send it to them tomorrow. And I say to my final analysis, good deep, rock solid defense, should be good on special teams, assuming the punter does his job. But unless the offense shows significant improvement, it's hard to look at Iowa as a legitimate contender. That's right. I think they're going to be good.
I think that's
good,
spot on.
Good, but there's a big difference between being good, winning somewhere between 8 and 10 games, or being a legitimate. They weren't a legitimate contender last year.
No.
They weren't. They won the West and then got pounded by any good team they played. And I kind of think that's where they'll be again this year, which means unless the offense shows dramatic improvement, I just don't see that happening in 1 year. Maybe I'm being pessimistic. I just think between the personnel and what have you, I think they'll be somewhat different, but I still think it's going to look pretty similar because it's a lot of the same players.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm optimistic that
you
we'll
always
see some.
are.
I'm optimistic that we'll see some changes, but
what though? What changes are you talking about? 5 whiteouts?
No, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I just want it. I want it to look different. I want it to look like we're going north-south instead of sideways.
Like they're trying, in other words.
And
I think they're always trying.
No, but
I don't know. I just want it to look different. Whatever that looks like is okay with me. I just want to.
Yeah, I guess
because we've been the worst.
I just don't know how you're going to look much different with the same personnel, especially at wide receiver.
And that's a fair point. Unless part of the problem has been the routes themselves.
That may be part of it, but I think part of it also is the personnel running the routes at receiver. I'm not knocking the wide receivers. Let's face it, they're not loaded at wide receiver.
No, they're not. And
their depth chart right now, their starters are Caleb Brown and Seth Anderson. Caleb Brown is a fantastic talent, but he's a converted running back from high school, and let's face it, he had a lot of drops last year.
Yes, he did.
I mean, he could do a lot after the catch, so we'll see. I mean, I think there'll be some different routes, and I think when I talk about being different, I'm hoping they take more chances downfield. That would be a change. It wouldn't necessarily be a change in routes and whatever, but it would be more of a change in strategy and approach.
And part of that's going to depend on the offensive line, too.
And it's the same.
It's the same offensive line. So
guys who have combined to make over 100 starts, so experience is not the issue.
News.
Which is good news. The bad news is none of them have distinguished themselves as anywhere close to being first-team All-Big Ten level performance. And that's a concern because, I mean, Mason Richmond's a 4-year starter. He's okay, but he's not standout by any means.
No.
None of them are right now. So we'll see.
So the good news, you got everybody back, Coach. The bad news, you got everybody back, Coach.
Well, plus McNamara's situation.
Yeah.
His health is paramount, of course. Kirk said in the press conference he's very limited this spring. He can do stationary throwing. So they're not going to really have any full go with Cade this spring at all. That's a concern.
So what do you think the chances are of Cade going through a season without getting injured again?
Well, I'd be willing to say that he'll go through a season without blowing out his knee again, even though that's happened 2 years in a row. Eventually the law of averages will work to his advantage, unless he's just damaged to the point where anytime he puts his body under a significant amount of stress, it's going to buckle. But the question will be is just how healthy he can stay. He wasn't healthy when the season started because of the quad injury. So we'll see. I mean, I would like to think that he could avoid having another season-ending knee injury because if he has another one of those, he's probably done.
I would think so.
I mean, so we'll see. But no, to me, and I wrote about it too, I think the storyline that's being ignored the most is the chance they're taking at quarterback. And that's not a knock on Cade's ability or who he is. It's just the circumstances. They're taking a big chance with Cade McNamara.
They sure are. And then we know what the backup quarterback situation
You got Deacon
looks
Hill
like.
listed second right now, and you got Leones. Leones showed that he can run. He still hasn't proven anything as a passer. And Deacon just, I mean, he completed less than 50% of his passes, and he can't run. There, enough said. I'm not going to rip the guy.
No.
You don't need to rip him to the stage. I think everybody knows where he is. Dude, I got major concerns at quarterback.
Deacon did the best job that he could in a tough situation.
And let's face it, Cade wasn't very good either.
No, he wasn't.
And you can't blame it all on the quad injury. I mean, that quad injury had nothing to do with him missing Seth Anderson wide open against Iowa State. He had some bad throws. Cade just didn't look very good.
No.
He just didn't.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Deacon didn't look very good.
No. I mean, he had a couple moments, but there were times where he threw the ball too hard, not much touch.
No.
And I still think he needs to get in better shape.
And no mobility whatsoever.
Don't you think he looks a little heavy?
Yes, I do.
So we'll see. But with the defense.
But then I thought Audie Crooks looks a little heavy too. But she
uses her weight to her advantage, whereas Deacon doesn't. Deacon, you don't need quarterbacks. You don't want your quarterback using his added girth to his advantage. Whereas if you're a power center playing basketball in the lane, Audie Crooks, I think her weight helps her in some ways.
Oh,
I think it really does. Could she lose a few? Sure, but I don't. She is who she is. I mean, you look at her; she's big, but that's not all fat. There's a lot of muscle in there, and she's got great eye-hand coordination. Like I said, I think Iowa State's on. I think the Iowa State women are on the verge of something. I'm not saying it's going to match what Iowa's done with, but they have a chance to be really good these next couple of years. They got a lot of young players.
They did. They looked good. They did.
Yeah.
And look, can't remember.
I
her
never
name.
dreamed she'd be this good this early. Audie Crooks.
I don't think anybody did.
She proved me wrong in that regard. And I'll say this Iowa team. I didn't think this Iowa team would be here. I thought that Cesano and Warnock, I said that multiple times. I just didn't think they would get to this level. I got to give them credit, not just Caitlin, everybody. They have exceeded my expectations for this team. So that's why, like, if they lose tonight, season's a flop.
Well, anybody that says that is an
Caitlin
idiot.
can't win the big ones. None of that storylines will mean crap. Because what are they? Let's say NCAA tournament. They were 5-1 last year. They're 9-1 over their last 10 NCAA tournament games. That's winning a lot of big games.
That's pretty good.
So would I love to see them go all the way? Sure. It would be a great storyline. I can only imagine the celebration back here. I mean, do you think it'll surpass the Final Four celebration at the Fieldhouse when Ronnie and the guys came back?
I think it'd be great.
Were you at that one?
Yeah.
You were at the one in 1980? The band hadn't started?
No. It was awesome.
I was not there, but I know a couple of people that were there that said it was some of the most fun they ever had.
That's so awesome. Well, were you at the outdoor one when the girls came back last year?
I was not. Were you?
Yes,
Tom?
And that was wild too.
that was, and it was when I discovered that Caitlin Clark
we found
could not
something.
sing.
We found something that Caitlin Clark could not do.
Not do.
And yet she still sings on those State Farm commercials. But
Because she said, I really like to sing.
Yes.
Well, yes, but that doesn't mean that you can't.
Well,
Right.
she can laugh at herself. I mean,
Yes.
she's got a self-deprecating side to her.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and I've seen it, and we've seen it in press conferences. She's more than willing to poke fun of herself, and her teammates. One of the words I've heard them use to describe her is goofball.
Yeah.
They said she's just goofy, and what have you. But I think that all goes into that personality that comes out on that court. Then she is a fiery competitor who hates to lose, and that's what you need to be.
Yeah, and she's such an example for not just her teammates, but for
Yeah.
kids coming up that are watching her.
And as far as
dedication
getting emotional, whatever. If that's the only thing she does wrong at times, that's still pretty good. And how about Luka finally getting an NBA real contract? Good for him.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Gets played in the postseason then.
Yes, he can do that. I just hope it means going to. I just hope it means he's got next year too. I didn't read the specifics of it, but
I don't think it means that.
So
yet.
would you be surprised if he's back in the G League again next year?
Kind of. I would.
I hope not. I mean, but man, he's been out. He's been gone now for how long? 3. He's in his 3rd or 4th year, isn't he?
Yeah.
But I'm just glad he's finally got a little bit of security because he can help them offensively. I know he's a liability at times on defense, but good for him. They're good. They're having a good year.
So many big guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got to thin that herd a little before he's going to be able to.
How about that center for Indiana State? Did you watch him at all? Robbie Avila. He's been one of the stars. He's a neat story. He's really good too. He's kind of a poor man's Jokic, the center for the Denver Nuggets. He can pass, but some of the nicknames they have, because he wears goggles, and he's about 6'11". He looks like Buddy Holly. Every time I see him, I think of Buddy Holly. But some of the nicknames they have for him, like Larry Nerd, because he's Indiana State, Milk Chamberlain. That's one of the good ones. But he's a hell of a player. They got beat last night. I watched that game, too. It was a really enjoyable game. Seton Hall beat them at Hinkle Fieldhouse with that place just packed with Indiana State fans. And Seton Hall ended up finishing 25-12. That was one of Iowa's.
Beat them?
That was one of Iowa's best wins. Yeah. Seton Hall ended up overcoming the disappointment of not making the tournament, and they won the NIT. There was a really neat moment afterwards that Avila was hunched over, staring at the ground. Kind of, you could tell he was, and then the Seton Hall coach Shaheem Holloway came up and talked to him, and you could tell he was giving him encouragement. And you could tell it really meant a lot to Robbie Avila. But that game was, I know the NIT is not the tournament, but
It isn't.
I enjoyed that game a lot more than a lot of the NCAA games I would channel surf to. It was a really good game. It was good way for the NIT to end the season.
Minnesota Timberwolves, by team policy, do not disclose terms of agreement. So, but it is a standard NBA contract, whatever that means. So,
well, I mean, if nothing else, he gets to play in the postseason.
And he's now making the NBA. I assume, doesn't that mean he makes the NBA minimum
for
a certain amount of time?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just don't know if it means he's got all this year and that he's got all next year too. I didn't read.
I don't know. I don't want to say that I know for sure because I don't. But
because there were times where we thought that before. I remember sitting on the show. Wow, it looks like him, and then the next year he's in the G League, and I think we were premature.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how the NBA contracts work that well either.
Well, he got 21 games with the Timberwolves. The last he got 7 out of 10 for 16 points on April 3rd.
He's done that many times where they put him in
9.5 minutes.
They put him in mop-up duty, and he scores 14 points in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then a week later, he's down in the G League again. It's just been, but I'm just glad it couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
He looks even more in shape than he ever.
Yeah,
has.
he looks. I mean, he is so much more cut and thin and toned now than he was at Iowa. I think he's just developing. I mean, he's not saying he didn't work hard at Iowa. I think Iowa wanted him with a little more girth to withstand the pounding. Whereas I think the NBA, he's got to withstand the pounding, but his biggest problem with the NBA is quickness. So they want him as thin and as in shape as he can be to offset that.
And Megan Gustafson's had to do the same
thing. Yeah. But she needed that girth in college, too, because she took
did.
a lot of pounding. But she's playing a lot more on the perimeter now in the WNBA.
She is.
I'll give her credit, man. I've watched her make threes. She's really, her game has evolved.
Yeah.
So.
I always liked Megan.
Yeah, she was another one.
Every time I see her, she has pictures with her little cord. That dog. They're little. That's the name. They're inseparable.
Yeah, and she's always smiling. All the pictures you see of her.
She's got a lot to smile about.
Yeah, well,
she's just a good kid.
And she really enjoys her time on the court, you can tell.
I guess she's not a kid anymore. She's a 25-year-old woman.
She's not a kid anymore. When someone asks of me.
God.
Remember that song, Jim?
No. Is that a show tune?
I wanna be Bobby's girl.
Oh, that goes back a ways. That's
kill me.
Hello.
Good morning, guys. Hey, it's Southern Justin.
Well, hello, Southern Justin.
That was good. I like. That's a good song.
Yeah.
Maybe someday that could be the song of the week.
Maybe it could, except it's not in format.
Probably not.
It's not in format.
Just throw that out there.
Hello, Pat Harty. How you doing today?
I'm hanging in there, Justin.
I thought maybe I would call now because Molly Suter was on later, so that way I don't have to call her show. That way I don't get in trouble with Captain Steve.
I thought you got in trouble if you called any show besides Molly's show. I think that was the edit he put in. I don't care. I don't care. Now with you talking, I can just sit here. But I heard yesterday Captain launched into his edit about it was Molly's show you're supposed to call into. Isn't that right, Tom?
I don't believe that was correct.
You're trying to get
Southern Justin in trouble like Tommy Lang did.
Well, no, I listened to Captain yesterday saying that the only show I heard him say it, that the only show you're supposed to call into is Molly's show. Now I don't care. You can call in whenever, but we'll see what Captain says when he comes back. Because I heard him yesterday. He went off on he was yelling at Tommy. He went off on some long rant. His edict. He called it an edict.
Yeah, an edict, yes.
An edict. E-D-I-C-T, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Edict. And he says he doesn't do too many, but have at it, man. What's the menus?
Well, today for the City High School in Iowa City, they're having chicken nuggets.
Yum.
Cheddar wurst on bun.
Yum. Not in bun.
Not in bun, just cheddar wurst on bun.
Okay.
Turkey and noodles.
Yum.
Macaroni salad.
No.
Mashed potatoes.
Yum.
Fresh romaine salad.
Yum.
Mixed berry cup. Chocolate chip cookie with gravy.
Jesus, that's all.
Wait.
That's one meal?
The last thing was what?
Chocolate chip cookie with gravy.
Well, that's what I thought you said.
Okay.
Chocolate gravy.
The gravy goes along with the mashed potatoes.
Well, why didn't you say the gravy was with? You said the gravy was with the cookies. Now our listeners are confused. Shouldn't the gravy be with the mashed
potatoes? I bet.
Yeah, but you waited till the end. He didn't say it with the mashed potatoes, did he, Tom? Because when he said
did not.
And you said that sounds good, I'm like, yeah, but not if it's just butter. It's got to have gravy on it.
Well, okay, we could talk about this forever. Let's move along.
Well, that was for the City High School. Now for the Regina Catholic School, cheese stuffed breadsticks
Yum.
with marinara cup.
Yum.
As a main course?
Baby carrots with
I'm trying to
fruit.
give this some legitimacy.
Baby carrots, you got any thoughts on that?
Grow up.
There you go.
And today for the Burlington, Iowa schools, they're all having a fiestada, peas, garden salad, and mixed fruit. And that's the lunch menus on Hawkfanatic on the Mighty 1630 KCJJ.
All right, thanks, Justin.
I'm not crazy about peas going with Mexican food, are you?
Well, apparently that's all they have at Burlington, because they rarely have anything other than a Mexican entree.
I love Mexican food.
That's true. And if they don't have a fiestada, it's the chili crispito.
Yes.
Mexican food might be my favorite.
I sure like it.
Hello.
Greetings from Western Tennessee. How you guys doing this morning?
Hello.
Good. How are you? Hey, pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. Listening on the app. Hey, so I haven't got to talk to you guys since the final game at Carver when you both said it was going to be a close game, and I argued and said, no, we're going to blow them out. So what's the prediction for tonight? I came in a little late today.
Yeah. I'm going to pick Iowa, even though I don't really have a strong feeling either way. I'm going to pick Iowa 85-82.
And I'll pick Iowa 79-74.
Okay.
Well, but would not be surprised if they lost.
20, just to stay consistent.
You think we'll win by 20?
Yep, just
Okay.
being consistent with what we did before. So
Boy, that would make it easier, man. If
Boy, I
make it
hope
easier
you're
to
right,
get something done. If they're up by 20 and it looks like it's over, with 10 minutes to go, you got a better chance of getting your copy saying you can, and just make it a lot easier, maybe a shorter night. So I hope you're right.
Yeah, you guys are right, by the way, about that Molly video. Man, that was heartbreaking.
It
That
was.
was so hard to watch because she's been such a spark for the team all year, and when she was hitting shots there late in the season and dropping threes, and man, she just was. I think she was the biggest spark plug in a few of the games we won down the stretch.
She was.
Sure.
To see her sitting there with Coach, that was. Hopefully, we get to play one more game, and maybe she can at least make an appearance in the last one.
Yeah, we'll see. The only thing close they have is another point guard besides Caitlin.
Yeah. This has been fun, and I know we've talked about this before, but man, I am so grateful to be an Iowa fan right now to get to say that I watched Caitlin Clark both on TV and in person. You know, that's such a treat, and this whole team has been a once in a lifetime kind of deal. So I'm eternally grateful to Coach and everything that she's done to get us to where we're at today, and Caitlin as well. Like, man, this has been such a treasure.
Yeah, I think you speak for a lot of fans.
Absolutely, Caitlin and Gabby and Kate, and then the last couple of years, Molly has been great. It has been a treat.
And for me, it just like I said, it becomes even more personal because I know half of her family. I don't know the Clarks. I've met Brent, but I know the Nizzi family. I've known them for years, and that's just I still have to remind myself that Kathy Nizzi's niece is Caitlin Clark, and it's fascinating. It really is. Kathy Faber, I should
got
say.
one more question for you, Pat. So with Peyton going into the draft, now is it the thing where he hasn't hired an agent and maybe he can come back to the team?
Well, yeah, he's maintaining his eligibility.
Okay, that's what I was hoping.
Yep.
He's doing the smart thing.
Yeah.
Is there any more Indiana talk at all on what's his name? I'm sorry.
Tony Perkins?
11. Is there any more?
If I don't know, I haven't. I'll admit I've got so many other things going. I haven't really spent a lot of time. I wrote a short little story about when Tony announced his 6. I've just heard that Mom would really like him to be close to home for last year. In Indiana, man, they got another 5-star the other day. Their recruiting has just been incredible. And Woodson's got to start. He's got to win something.
Yes, he does.
Time's running out on him. So my prediction is Indiana, unless there's just one of those other 5 that have an NIL package that can't be turned down. And I'll say, Tom, I know you're closer to Brad than I am. Iowa's got problems when it comes to men's basketball NIL. And Fran's hands are tied. There's only so much, and there's only so much they can do. They got to figure that out. I'm not blaming Brad. I mean, I don't think there's one person you blame, but they got issues. Because I've heard a lot of Tony was seriously interested in coming back, but just there's nothing NIL-wise that's even close, competitive-wise. And that's a concern.
It is. Well, and that's, businesses need to step up.
Actually, I thought about reaching out to you today about trying to get Brad on, but I don't want to deal with. Let's get the women's season over.
I think so.
I don't want to take the spotlight away from that, but maybe next week have him on, and because I'm hearing from a lot of people that love Iowa basketball, that love, and they're just saying that it's really hard to raise much money right now to compete for these individual stars, which you got to do whether you want to admit it or not.
I don't have any bitterness against Tim or McCaffrey for leaving. You know, I understand go and try to find somewhere with a winning program and maybe, make a nice deep run into the NCAAs next season.
Well, Patrick, I just think
wherever they go, I wish him the best.
Yeah, and Patrick wants a change of scenery. He's been here 5 years. I just think he wants to try something different.
And I think Tony probably understands he's not going to make the NBA, probably.
And he wants money.
Yes. And I don't
blame him. I blame Iowa for not having the structure. I mean, you can't just expect the Swarm to do everything. I mean, I know that Iowa can't technically be involved. You know what I mean.
Yes, I know exactly.
There's way more ways to help without being directly involved is what I'm saying. They got to figure this out in basketball. Football's starting to get a little better. Basketball's different, though, man. Basketball are where teams, they'll buy 1 or 2 key players. Their whole fortunes change.
Yeah.
Yeah, the internet trolls were out there saying that because he's leaving, that Coach is going to leave after the women's.
Well, there's been talk of Fran retiring most this season.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's garbage. You got to, you take what you read on Twitter with the biggest grain of salt.
You do. I don't know, but would I be
Except
stunned?
For your column, Pat.
Would I be stunned? Oh, thank you. Would I be stunned if Fran announced his retirement in late April? No. Would I be stunned if he said he's coming back? No. I'm not sure what's going on there. I've heard so much different talk, but I think it's easy to read into Patrick's situation and Jack saying he doesn't want to play here. Do I think Fran's going to coach another 3 to 5 years? No. I don't think he will. But I'm not ready to say. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but nothing would surprise me at this stage.
Yeah, well, I appreciate Coach. I think he's done a marvelous job. Yeah, we haven't had a lot of success in the NCAAs, but I don't hold that against him. I mean, I think what he's done for the program, and, he's lifted the program up after, there were times where it was down, and he's brought it back to prominence.
He cleaned up a mess.
Great games with him behind the helm.
Yeah, he cleaned up a mess. It was a mess when he got here. I mean, this program was in serious shambles when he got here.
Well, let's hope for the best tonight, man. I'm going to enjoy it. The thing that sucks the worst is at best we got 2 more games with Caitlin in this group. And by the way, I did see when I was driving, I was coming down through Missouri, past Riverside. There's a sign up on Riverside that says the women are going to be there on April 26th. And it looked like the whole team was going to be there. So I don't know how many of them are actually scheduled to be making an appearance down there, but I did see they were going to be down at Riverside.
Yeah, there's going to be a good number of them. I don't know that it's the whole team, but yeah.
That'll be fun, a chance to go down, and if they don't have something big in Iowa City for them, that go down and thank them. Anyway, I love you guys' show. Thank you for keeping me company as I drive across this country, and you guys have a great weekend.
All right, you too.
All right, drive safe, my friend.
He does a lot of driving, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Oh, the earthquake in New York was a 4.8.
Yeah. Apparently it was Philadelphia, or Washington, D.C.
That's somewhat significant.
It is. Oh, yeah. It's not
nothing.
Not just a little tremor. So you guys driving anywhere to watch the total eclipse on Monday?
I am not.
And I'm not going to listen to Bonnie Tyler.
Do you
really?
Like that song is terrible.
God, I hate that song.
Terrible song. Total eclipse of my heart. Who's in it? Bonnie Tyler?
Yeah.
Pat will be listening to Eclipse from Dark Side of the Moon.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. I could put on some little Dark Side. I haven't listened to that in a while. I haven't listened to. I've been so busy that I haven't listened to much music lately. I may do some of that this weekend. But no, this is a busy. I mean, a baseball with Breck pitching at 2, and you got the Final Four, and where's softball?
They're at Purdue.
They're at Purdue. Okay, they're 4-2. Baseball and softball are both 4-2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of fun. Yeah, I want to see some games
I want to see a track meet. I would. Wouldn't you love to have like Iowa host like Michigan, Ohio, in like a quadrangular over there, and like, but it just doesn't work that way. They don't have that in the season.
That's too bad.
I would love to cover something like that, and it makes it hard to get to know and follow the track team because they just don't.
I mean, they used to do it,
but not anymore though. Everything is geared toward like Drake relays and NCAA championships, and what have you, and conference championships. I just wish there were more stuff during the regular season here in town, but it's hard.
Hello.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
I just want to get back to Caitlin and the Iowa women's team here for a couple minutes.
Sure.
You know, Jim knows I'm a big NASCAR fan and stuff, and I listen to NASCAR stuff on the radio and stuff. Oh, Dale Earnhardt Jr. mentioned Caitlin twice in his podcast this week about how great it is to watch her. And then yesterday, Larry McReynolds on his Sirius XM channel went off about a 5-minute rant on how great it is to watch her, and you need to be watching her. He says, I've been watching her for the last few games, and how to put up 2 TVs tonight, have the truck race on one TV and Caitlin on the other.
Oh, that's cool. That's way cool.
So just the expansion of the whole deal is just nuts anymore.
It really is.
Yeah, it really is. You're right.
Oh, you guys have a great day.
You too. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that's
Thanks,
really
Jeff.
cool. Thank you.
Yep, we'll talk to you guys later on.
All right.
I see.
Yep.
Bronny James has declared for the draft, and he will enter the transfer portal also. What if he transferred to Iowa? And do you think that NIL would help if LeBron made a
$150
$150? But no, that
meal voucher.
You imagine Bronny James playing a year in Iowa City.
it'd be great.
I think it'd be great, too, especially if LeBron ever came courtside. My guess is, I mean, he was seriously thinking of going to Ohio State. It'll be interesting to see if he tries that, but I'd be surprised if he leaves the West Coast. I don't think he's ready for the NBA. I don't know if he's even good enough to play in the NBA, but that would not be easy being LeBron James' son.
It wouldn't, but it's probably opened some doors for him.
Oh, it's opened some doors, without question. Well, I mean, he doesn't really need. I mean, his kids are set for life with the amount of money. He's worth $1 billion.
Yeah.
And I will say, from everything I've read about LeBron James, he seems like a
real
great
quality dude.
Really quality. I know some people hate him politically, and the right hates him, but he is a really good person, it seems like. And he seems like a real good, dedicated father, too.
Yep.
And now it's easy. I mean, he does have a lot going for him. The billion helps. I mean, guy's almost 40, and he's still one of the best players in the league. It's
he's earned it.
Incredible what he. He's never. Have you ever read one story about him doing anything close to being illegal or anything?
No,
never.
No. He's squeaky
just,
clean.
He's just like Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal was the same way.
Yep.
I mean, he's just, and the reason people hate him because of politics, and that's just the people that hate him. It's all political. He's with China and all. And I mean, LeBron is a very outspoken liberal.
Yeah.
And what's that going to get you here in this country?
Well, half the people hate you.
Yeah, and that's
not half.
And they already hate you.
40%.
They already hate you for being talented. There's that built-in hate for that.
But it's more than the people say. It's at least 40%. Well, I would do, I guess, because I mean these polls are so close. I mean, this race is going to be so close.
And there's a lot of people that don't like him because he's black.
Yeah,
there's that.
I'm sure that's black and outspoken. Those are.
Yeah, how dare he?
And successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is $1 billion really that successful anymore, guys? I mean,
yeah, for God's sake.
Really, yes.
Yeah, I saw some guy on Twitter just ripping Mark Cuban, saying every time this guy opens his mouth, he just embarrasses. And I responded to the guy. Normally, I'm like, yeah, what's he ever done? What's he ever accomplished? Some clown on Twitter hiding behind some stupid alias, pushing his narratives, ripping Mark Cuban. I don't agree with everything Mark Cuban says, but the guy is a huge success. He's a self-made billionaire, and it
goes without saying.
But Twitter can bring you both to where that guy tweeting thinks he's as important as Mark Cuban. It was just, I mean, there's so much of that crap that's on that platform.
Yeah, I'm off X.
You don't have an account anymore?
They want me to change my password, and I don't want to.
Now they're starting to give people blue checks that don't even want them.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, I haven't gotten one yet. It said something about if you got over 5,000 something. I've got over twice as, but I don't want a blue check.
Hopefully I don't have to worry about that.
Hopefully I never get one. Oh, and my amount of followers is small compared to some of the people in the Iowa media, but I don't spend near as much time on X as some. There's some people in the Iowa media, and I'm not knocking them. They live on that freaking platform.
Oh yeah, I've seen them.
They just live on it. Everything they get, they exit first, then they take it to their site, but they just live on pushing their brand on Twitter, and that's their thing, which is fine. That's just not me.
Yeah. I post most of my stuff on Facebook, but I still look at
Twitter. We post our stuff on X and Facebook to help push the traffic and whatever.
Yeah, I see your stuff
I
on
don't
Facebook.
I don't spend hardly any time on Twitter unless I have to be. But there's some people in the Iowa media that they tweet nonstop.
Yeah.
I've seen
and they have followers that like that stuff. Hey, more power to them. That's just not me.
Well, there'll be plenty of Twitters going on tonight. That's for sure.
With
this game.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's will have a.
Well, did I tell you guys we had so much traffic last Friday and Saturday that our site, our host, it wasn't working. It kept interrupting, and finally the people that host the site, they're very good. They're just like, Pat, he goes, we may have to get you a bigger server. He goes, you're using more resources than our 100+ other clients combined.
Wow.
And I mean, we had a stretch there last Friday where we got like 25,000 page views in like a matter of just hours, and it overwhelmed the server.
That's very cool.
And a lot of that was Caitlin Clark driven and Iowa women's basketball driven.
Yeah.
It's a good problem
That's
to have.
a good problem to have, but it was very frustrating working last Friday. I mean, it was trying to get stuff done was very frustrating. And it was going into the Easter weekend, which made it even worse, I mean, but I guess it is a good problem to have, but yeah, our traffic right now is incredible. And I think it helps being free and not having Google, but we are looking, I'm looking into Google just to see, but I'm still, unless I absolutely have to. If the money's too good to pass up, and Captain thinks it will be based on our traffic.
It might be.
Yeah, so we'll see, but I really don't want to do it. But no knock on Google, but it does make it a different reading experience.
It does. It does.
It does. Makes it a little harder to navigate and what have you. But they also pay you a lot of money, too, so we'll see.
Yep. So anything? Have you heard anything about people that may be players that may be looking at the Iowa men's basketball?
I've seen 2 tweets. Some guard from Norfolk State, and one other one I can't remember he was from. I'm seeing a lot of lists, and they're not on a lot of lists.
Yeah.
I did see the Norfolk State one. He looks like he's about a 6'1", 6'2" guard who averaged like 14 points. And there was another one, and I can't remember that one, but I haven't seen a ton.
So nothing that's moving your needle?
Nothing that's moving, but what are the message boards saying?
Nothing.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything of...
no, everything of the message board is negative about Iowa basketball.
Nobody wants to play here. Now, the one thing that I've heard, and still nothing, I've heard that Creighton's making a serious run at Josh Dix. And there's been some tweets about that. There's been on Twitter, but I've heard that they've made an NIL offer to him, and, it's right across the river. Yeah. So, man, that would not be good.
No, it sure wouldn't.
Because I think he's got 2 more.
We need him.
Yeah, I know he's a key part of the future.
Yeah.
So... All right, everybody. There will not be a normal Saturday show tomorrow.
No.
You guys will be out at West High with the pancake.
We will.
Fundraiser.
But we'll be back on Monday.
Jim will be there real early. And I not as early, but I will be there for sure for the last couple hours.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we do for the community is have this wonderful broadcast to get people fired up for supporting high school athletics in the area. It's great.
And how can you not be fired up about pancakes and sausage?
That's the other thing. That's right.
All right. So Molly Suter's next. Hawkfanatic.com. Check it out.